Hello, welcome back, Hardland Honest Minds podcast. I'm your host, Jason Sanamaso. I'm excited for you to be here with you. I'm recording on Friday instead of Sunday because Sunday is Mother's Day, and that's a time that we spend with our mothers and our wives that are mothers. So I wanted to get this done. Coming up this Monday, May 11th, 5:30 to 7:30 at the Mitchek Event Center is a free Comet training. Guys, this training is amazing. Okay, it's changing our mental health and emotional trajectory, as that says. It just trains us to kind of see the warning signs of maybe a mental health issue coming on in somebody that we love and care about, and we're seeing some changes. It helps us kind of see a little bit of that. It helps us with our conversation. It helps us with the questions that we need to be asking. So please, RSVP to Miranda. All the information is right there. Um, Give Miranda a call. Get signed up for this Monday, May 11th. You'll love the training. Today we've got another. I like this podcast. I think it fits to everybody. Um, we're going to talk about the pressure that nobody sees, and we're going to talk about something that a whole lot of people are feeling and going through right now, but very few are saying it out loud. Very few of us are talking about it, and we've got to get better at that. And that's pressure. And we're talking about the pressure that nobody sees. Okay, we're talking about the pressure to hold everything together, the pressure to keep showing up even when your tank is empty. And that's a tough thing to do, but we've got to get better at that. Um, the pressure, pressure to provide. Okay, the pressure that we feel every day in everyday life, and I got a lot of junk on my desk. But we've got to get to where we're talking about these things, guys. We've got to get better at that. Um, and I think we can. It just takes being able to talk about it. Uh, Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. It's maybe I'm not supposed to record on Friday because I just paused everything and I don't know what I did. But anyway, we're talking about the pressure. And, if you live in rural America, if you work in ag, if you own a business, if people depend on you, you know exactly what I'm talking about with this pressure. Um, because around here, we build a culture where toughness is respected, toughness matters. But somewhere along the way, many of us learn don't complain, don't slow down, figure it out yourself, and keep grinding. And eventually people stop asking for help. And probably a lot of you have never started asking for help. Um, they think struggling means weakness. They think talking about it means weakness. But I want to say this to you right now. Some people aren't angry, they're exhausted. Some people aren't lazy, they're mentally overloaded. Some people aren't distant, they're drowning silently. And some of the strongest people you know are barely hanging on. That's what this episode is going to be about. And again, I thank you guys for being here. I thank you for watching. Please like and share. We need to get this out. Um, but talking about our problems is not weakness, that's reality because we all have them. We all have pressures. We all deal with something that's weighing us down. Um, so we'll talk about kind of the culture to push through this, the culture that we have here. Um, Out here in rural America and everywhere. But I focus on rural America because that's where I live. That's where my heart's at. These pressures are everywhere. But out here, there's pride in hard work, and there should be. I mean, this country is built on hard work. Farmers, ranchers, truckers, business owners, first responders, parents. We work, we sacrifice, and we push through it all. But there's a dangerous line between resilience and emotional suppression. A lot of people listening right now were raised believing work fixes everything, emotions are private, rest is laziness, asking for help is weakness. So what happens? People keep carrying more and more weight until eventually their fuse gets shorter, their sleep disappears, their anxiety spikes, their marriages suffer, their friendships fade, and mentally they start collapsing. But outwardly, we still show up, right? We still smile, we still joke around, and we still go to work. That's what makes mental exhaustion so dangerous. A person can look fine, okay, for years. We can look fine, um, but maybe deep down we're not. So I'll give you. I'm going to go back and kind of give you a personal story here in a minute. But before we do, I want to get into my amazing sponsors. I can't do this without them. They're amazing. DGM Global Builders. Dave Marshall with DGM Global Builders has over 20 years of construction experience. They are now offering Northeast Colorado and Western Nebraska quality pole barns at a reasonable price. So whether you're looking for living quarters, farm and ranch storage, or a place to park your toys, they'll give you quality work with a hometown feel. For a free consultation or quote, call Dave today at 970-466-2612. DGM is now offering turnkey barn door housing, design and build with DGM. Call and talk with Dave Marshall today, 970-466-2612. Again, if you're looking for any of these services that my sponsors offer, please give them a call. Let them know that I sent you, so they know their ads are working. I appreciate it. So I've told my story a lot, and I'm going to continue to do it because I think it's vitally important, um, that people see that it's okay to talk about what we're going through. I mean, there were times in my own life where I thought, if I just work harder, eventually everything in my head will calm down. And instead, the harder I pushed, the worse things got. Maybe you feel that same way, because exhaustion changes people, folks. It changes us. Lack of sleep changes people. Stress changes people. And if we ignore it long enough, we kind of stop becoming ourselves. Okay. You become short tempered, detached, numb, irritable. Sometimes anxious people don't look nervous. Sometimes they look angry. And I think it's important for people to understand that, especially men, because a lot of men never learned how to say, I'm overwhelmed. Our pride gets in the way of that. Okay. So instead, we shut down, we snap at people, we isolate, drink too much. That was me. And we bury ourselves in work, not because we're bad people, but because we're carrying pressures that we don't know how, and we don't understand how to release. And I found a really cool quote that kind of goes to this, and it says, notice how your GPS never says made a mistake. It just says recalculating route. Isn't that kind of how we should look at life? We're going to mess up. We're going to make mistakes. Let's just recalculate. Okay. We didn't make a mistake. We're going to recalculate. Okay. So let's talk about when anxiety looks like anger. And was me and still is me, guys. It's not that I'm healed and cured and all that. I still deal with this stuff. But this one really matters because I think a lot of families are dealing with this right now. A husband comes home irritated every day. A dad explodes over small things. That was me. Still do once in a while. I'm working on it. Business owner loses patience constantly. Your friends start pulling away. And people think, what is wrong with him? And sometimes the answer is he's just mentally exhausted, or she's mentally exhausted. And when stress builds up long enough, the brain stays in survival mode. Everything feels heavy. Everything feels urgent. Everything feels threatening. So small problems suddenly become massive. And the scary part is many people don't even realize it's happening. They think this is just who I am now. No, sometimes your mind is just simply overloaded and your body has been screaming for rest for months or years. Okay, we've got to rest that mind. We've got to learn to talk about what we're going through. I want to go into a segment here that is near and dear to my heart. These people mean the world to me. I know they do you as well. They're the ones that keep us safe, and the first responders. And this is just kind of a continuation of when anxiety looks like anger. And so I want to take a few minutes and speak directly to our first responders. First off, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We can never thank you enough for what you do. And in this area, we have the very best at what they do. Our police officers, our firefighters, our EMTs, our dispatchers, our paramedics, our volunteers, uh, the our volunteer responders in small towns, our nurses, our doctors. I mean, they're not exactly first responders, but they're at the forefront of what's going on right now. And there's a level of pressure in that world that most of us will never ever fully understand. Will never experience the pressure they go through. A lot of people see the uniform, they see toughness, they see professionalism. Okay, what they don't see is what follows them home every day. The calls they can't forget, the faces they still remember, the sounds that stick in their head years later. And in rural America, especially, first responders don't just respond to strangers, they respond to neighbors, friends, the people they grew up with, sometimes people you're related to. And then somehow you're expected to go right back to normal life afterward. Go coach baseball, go eat dinner, go smile at people in the grocery store. And that pressure continues to build. And many first responders become experts at appearing okay while internally carrying enormous weight. As I'm telling you, we can never fathom what they're going through. Because in that world, weakness feels and can be dangerous. So a lot of first responders feel like if I slow down, I'll fall apart. If I talk about it, people will lose confidence in me. If I admit I'm struggling, maybe I shouldn't be doing this job. I'm talking directly to you guys and gals. The truth is, seeing trauma repeatedly affects us. We're human beings. It's going to affect us. It affects our sleep, affects our relationships, it affects patience, it affects mental health. And many times, anxiety in the first responders doesn't look emotional. It looks like irritability, numbness, isolation, hyper alertness, exhaustion, emotional shutdown. Some people become short tempered, some stop talking, some overwork, some drink too much, some completely disconnect emotionally from the people they love most. It's, I mean, I can't stress enough. I can't fathom what they go through on a daily basis in this crazy world. Their, their nervous systems have been running in survival mode for years. And one thing I really want first responders to hear, you're allowed to be human. You're allowed to be human. The strongest responders are not the ones who never feel anything. The strongest responders are the ones willing to deal with what they've seen before it destroys them silently. Please hear that, guys and gals. Please, you are the heroes, but please hear that. And I think we need to change the culture around mental health in emergency service because somewhere along the way, too many people were taught just handle it yourself. Don't talk about it, suck it up. My phone keeps going off. Trauma doesn't disappear simply because you ignore it. It usually grows, and eventually it leaks into the marriages, your parenting, your friendships, physical health, alcohol abuse, anger, depression. But I also want to speak to the families of the first responders. Sometimes that person you love isn't cold. They're distant because they're not distant because they don't care. Sometimes they've simply seen so much pain that their brain has learned to shut emotions down for survival in their job. And that doesn't excuse bad behavior, but understanding that matters, and that can help you help them. One conversation, one trusted friend, one counselor, one honest moment, that can change everything. And if you're a first responder listening tonight, thank you. Thank you for showing up on people's worst days. Thank you for carrying things most people never could. But remember this, you cannot continuously carry trauma for others while refusing help for yourself. At some point, even the strongest people need support. And there's absolutely no shame in that. None. No shame whatsoever. First responders, nurses, doctors, thank you for what you do. Um, we greatly appreciate you. I greatly appreciate you, and we truly can never know what you're going through. But please learn to talk about what you're feeling. Thank you. Move on to another amazing sponsor. Farm Bureau Insurance. Agent Melinda Hutt in Sterling is your neighbor, and she's part of your community. She's committed to providing you with local, personalized service for all of your insurance needs. Let Melinda help you with your auto, home, business, life, and of course, farm and ranch insurance. Melinda can help customize their products, meet your specific needs. Call Melinda Hutt today, 970-526-0202. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Farm Bureau, Melinda, thank you. Great sponsor again. And guys, I'll tell you, every one of these sponsors are huge community supporters. So please go support them. We'll kind of move on to a little lighter moment, but again, I just want to thank our first responders. I know you guys catch a lot of grief, but thank you. You guys are so greatly appreciated. So now, if we're being honest, rural America has some pretty unique coping mechanisms. We've got people surviving on caffeine, sarcasm, gas station pizza, and pure stubbornness. And probably a lot of folks haven't slept since 2014. And you know exactly who you are. There are people out there starting brand new projects at 11:30 p.m. after a 15-hour workday. Like, you know what sounds smart right now? Let's go reorganize the shop at 11:30 p.m. Then by morning, they're mad at everybody because nobody else shared that vision. That's not leadership, that's sleep deprivation. And listen, humor does matter. Laughing matters. But sometimes we joke so much that nobody realizes we're actually struggling underneath it. Okay? Speak, talk. It's not weakness, it's strength. We have a loneliness problem. And one of the biggest issues nobody talks about is loneliness. And loneliness doesn't just mean physically alone. You can be surrounded by people and still feel completely disconnected. A lot of men, especially, struggle with this because after a certain age, our circles do get smaller and friendships fade and conversations become surface level and vulnerability disappears. Many men only talk about work, sports, weather, or politics, but never what's actually happening inside. And that isolation becomes dangerous because humans were not built to carry everything alone. We need connection, we need community, we need honest conversations. And sometimes one real conversation can change someone's entire direction. Just one conversation. Guys, we just had the Legacy Stories of Healing and Hope showing on Monday, May 4th. This past Monday. What an amazing film it is, and we had an amazing panel. We had Jared Sonnenberg, Rochelle Maker, myself, and Chris Swenson that kind of talked about each aspect of what we knew. And I can tell you this, guys, we have three amazing people in this community that are willing to talk to you non-judgmentally and help you through some of your problems. And guys, that is Jared Sonnenberg, Rochelle Maker, and Chris Swenson. They are phenomenal, and we are so blessed in this community to have them. So if you need their contact information, please reach out to me. If you're finally willing and wanting to talk, please reach out. I will get you their contact information. They are phenomenal people, and we're just so blessed to have them here. So I want to talk about the role of you women in our lives. Women play an unbelievably important role in mental health in rural America. The wives, the mothers, sisters, friends, So many men are still here today because a woman in their life refused to stop believing in them. And for me personally, it was Camille. She's been one of the strongest voices in my life because there are moments when we as men stop believing in ourselves, and that woman picks us back up. Sometimes it's people around them that help hold the line until they can find themselves again. And I'm talking about us men. That support matters more than people realize, more than we'll ever know. They're not fixing us and they're not controlling us, but they're reminding us you matter. You're not alone. We're going to get through this. So, women, thank you. Ladies, thank you. Thank you. You guys are the backbone of rural America. So, what can we do? What actually helps? How do we start improving our mental health? First, sleep matters. Okay, sleep is so important. You cannot mentally function correctly forever on exhaustion. We've got to sleep. Second, talk honestly, not surface level talk, not fake answers, real conversation. Talk about what you're going through. Third, slow down enough to notice your own mind. That's where I struggle. You got to slow down to understand kind of what you're going through. A lot of people are moving so fast they don't even realize how overwhelmed they are. And that's the ag community. That's farming and ranching. There's always something to do, but there's always time for our mind. Okay? And fourth, quit believing that strength means silence. That is such BS. Quit believing strength means silence. Real strength is being honest enough to say, I'm struggling. And lastly, check on people, especially, hear this, especially the strong ones, the ones that you think are so strong. They may be carrying more struggles than anybody, and especially the people who never ask for help. Because sometimes the people carrying the most weight are the ones smiling the biggest. Let me read that again. Because sometimes the people carrying the most weight are the ones smiling the biggest, because that's their coping mechanism to try to hide it all. Check on people. Okay. It's huge that we become a community that checks on each other, not judges each other. ABS, another amazing community supporting business. American Building Systems. They are American Building Systems, and they don't just build structures, they build solutions. Need a commercial building, planning a remodel, want a garage, barn dominium, or tough agricultural building for your tractors, for your combines, trucks, and equipment? That's what they do. Strong builds, honest work, and a local team that shows up ready. Commercial buildings and remodels, custom garages and barn dominiums, farm and equipment buildings built tough. If you can picture it, they can build it. Message them today and let them turn your next project into something solid and built to last. American Building Systems. Mike and Michelle Yarrington, Todd Curlee. Send them a message. Great people. And I appreciate your support. Thank you very much. So I want to, if I can find that, I've got a slide that I want you to read. Next time you feel nervous about stepping outside your comfort zone, remind yourself, I feel fear because it's new, not because I can't do it. Keep going. I love that quote. Keep going. We feel fear because it's new. It's something we haven't done before, not because we can't do it. And that goes back to having that positive mentality. We can do it. We can do anything we want. We just have to change our mentality. So, in closing, I want to leave you all with this. You do not have to earn rest. You don't have to earn love. You don't have to destroy yourself to prove your worth. And if you've been carrying pressure silently, please hear me. You're not weak for feeling exhausted. You're human, and you're dang sure not alone. This world needs more honest conversations, more compassion, more grace, more people willing to ask, how are you really doing? not because mental health is trendy, because people matter. And if this episode connected with you, share it with somebody. Send it to the friend who's been unusually quiet. Send it to the dad carrying the world. Send it to the husband who never talks. Send it to the rancher working himself into the ground. Send it to the wife who is carrying her struggles as well as everyone else's. Because maybe the strongest thing we can do right now is remind people they don't have to carry it alone. This is Hardland Honest Mind Podcast. I'm Jason Santamasso. And remember, silence doesn't solve struggle, it buries it.